You know, though, the University of Oregon is in a little bit of trouble, proposing a self-2-year probation and losses of scholarships, one scholarship over each 3 years. It's amazing. A school gets in trouble, and what do? They propose to screw over 3 kids who could have had free educations. Pulling scholarships away does more to hurt the kid that might have gotten the scholarship than it does a football program. I got an idea that I think is the best idea to really, really put Oregon in its place if the NCAA wants to hand down some true discipline. Stay with me next hour. We'll begin, and I'll tell you what that is. We're going to circle back to Major League Baseball and Anthony Witrato of the Sporting News. He joins me next hour, and hopefully you do too. We'll have some open lines, 415-808-1050, and a chance to win Giants tickets. Stay tuned.
You're listening to The Damon Bruce Show. Live from atop the downtown San Francisco skyline, it's the Damon Bruce Show.
I ended last hour with just a thought that I had about Oregon. Chip Kelly, much like Pete Carroll, when the going got tough, he got going to the NFL. Oregon is now in trouble with the NCAA. A lack of institutional control may or may not be attached to them. Will Lyles was a recruiting coordinator that was paid an inappropriate or illegal amount of money. I mean, it's very convoluted, and it's hard to figure out what happened where. But basically, Oregon, Dan Le Batard once famously said, and he was right, anytime a school comes out of nowhere to be good, you can expect sirens to follow. Yeah, that's what happens in football. Oregon has become a national player. Well, something must have happened other than just cool uniforms to recruit kids with in order for that to happen. Oregon's got a pipeline to the state of Texas, and it could be thanks to this recruiting coordinator named Will Lyles that made it happen. So there's controversy surrounding it. Details are still murky. But Oregon knows that it's in so much trouble that they're offering up their own idea of punishment to the NCAA, and nothing says you got us kind of red-handed more than that. So now the NCAA can either accept Oregon's personally imposed punishment or levy more punishment on them. Here's what I would do. Here's what I would do if I really wanted to punish Oregon. I would make them wear all white uniforms home and away for the next 2-3 seasons. There's nothing you could do to devastate Oregon's brand more than that. It would be almost as bad as a BCS bowl ban. Oregon is all about its flash. Oregon is all about never wearing the same uniform twice. If you told Phil Knight, your school's in trouble, we caught you cheating, and the punishment is they have to wear all white head to toe. You don't even get a yellow O on the side of the helmet. Like, you're literally going to look like a JV practice team. Just white from head to toe. You can't put a Nike swoosh on anything. No branding whatsoever. Ooh. Oregon would literally pass out if that was the punishment. Now, in that punishment, you know what wouldn't be affected? The couple of scholarships that are now not going to be handed to kids. By taking scholarships away from a school, the punishment of the school is denying a free education to a high school kid. That, to me, is insane. You know, that's wrong. You really want to punish someone? Say you can only recruit 3-star recruits for the next 2 years. You can't even recruit a 4-star or 5-star recruit. But you still got to give that scholarship away. And then you can't pull it. You might be saying, look, Damon, that's never going to happen. And in many ways, you're right. But it's time for a new day for the NCAA. Everything that the NCAA is doing isn't working. Mark Emmert, the president of the NCAA, is completely negligent at this point in time. For the first time, the NCAA brand is polling negatively. Like, people used to feel good about the NCAA and think, well, all things considered, it does more good than harm. I don't think anyone's out there making that argument anymore. There is no college campus more corrupt than the NCAA itself. There is no violation being committed by any coach at any school that makes less sense than the sense the NCAA makes with some of its decisions. There is no single way you could prove to me that the NCAA has the student-athletes' best interest at heart. And you know what really is insulting? Did you watch any of the NCAA tournament press conferences? During the NCAA tournament press conferences, they have this policy where they bring up the coach with like 3 or 4 players, and then the moderator for the press conference comes on out and says, if you have a question for the student athletes, and he would never call them players. Student athletes is all he refers to these guys as. Kentucky's going to be sitting up there with 5 one-and-dones next year. Do you have any questions for the student athletes? John Feinstein was in earshot of me when this was happening during the Wichita State loss. Greg Williams is up there talking about his team. And, any questions for the student athletes? And John Feinstein goes, or players, under his breath. And I just looked at him and said, touche, John, touche. It is really just insane, the amount of BS that they try to shovel at this situation to make it better. You can call these kids anything you want, but we all know what the real deal is.